Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new and improved weekly T3 Live. In order to train myself to be more consistent, I decided that, you know, setting up something that I was forced to do weekly, not forced because I love it, but um, just a weekly obligation that I will hold to unless I happen to be teaching a class or, uh, there's a giant wildfire burning just up the street, which talk about a blessing. So it has been dry for a while. Um, and I'm laying in bed the other night and this, lightning. I hear thunder and lightning, and I'm like, oh no, because that is the number one, uh, you know, starter of wildfires in this area. And sure enough, about 8.9 miles from here, lightning struck a tree, and it's gone from 10 acres at the start to now, let's check our handy little fire app. Whoa, 1,969 acres, and it is zero contained. And we will be under level one evacuation possibly by the end of this live stream. So, yay! Remember what my dad says, safety, security, and comfort are euphemisms for death. But yeah, it's the one kind of bane of living in the Pacific Northwest. You get these beautiful summers, but you pay you pay for it with the risk of living near an active volcano, the earthquake that is supposedly imminently going to happen at any time now, wildfires, but I love it. So welcome to Oregon, and the sun is out now, and I'm happy about that. And one thing that is just that just blows my mind, and I love it, and I can feel it, and I'm drawing energy from it. I can physically just feel it coming up through my feet. Um, is that first good rain of the year? We got two good days. Yesterday it dumped rain for like 2 hours. Um, and the whole energy of the forest changes because of um, it gets that the moisture, and all of a sudden everything springs back to life. Um, so yeah. So one slight tech issue I'm dealing with is occasionally it may flash and say Nikon webcam utility. Um, yeah, we'll just have to deal with it for now. I still can't figure out why it does it with this cable, but not the other cable. Before we get started, a couple things. So a couple days ago, I think I did my last T3 Live on Sunday. I had a contest, and basically the deal was, I asked you to, the first person to comment on something, you will win a prize. Well, I'm streaming this through a program called OBS. I'm not actually on YouTube, even though I'm on YouTube. So I can't see comments or anything like that. And both prizes I had to give away, people made comments, but when I go back into the live stream, I can't find them anywhere. So if you happen to be one of the people watching this who, won, quote unquote, please contact me through my website. You just go to my website, tombrown3.com. There's a contact button at the bottom, and send me an email, and I will make sure to get your prize out in the mail as soon as possible. The next thing I wanted to talk about, I'm super excited about, and been waiting a long time. If any of you follow along with my father's live broadcasts, he had one today this as well, but East Coast time. And he talked at length about the photography program, online photography program that he and I are going to do. It takes place over 2 nights. I think the dates are, I have so many dates going around in my brain that it's amazing. I remember anything, but it's towards the end of September. I think it's the 24th and 25th. Um, if not, I will put it in the show notes with a link to the schedule page, so you can, head to his site and register for it. Um, it's been a long time since I taught a class alongside my father, and it's gonna be good. I'm excited for it. I am so thankful to him for, even though I'm in a little bit of a ditch right now, everything that I have, you know, as far as friends and I owe to him, you know, this vision that I was born into that I tried to fight for years and say, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to do something else. And um, that led me to nothing but misery. It wasn't until followed in my dad's footsteps, as they say, and, picked up the torch, walking alongside him, illuminating the for others so they can find their vision and, more importantly, establish a deeper connection with the natural world. And I'm just so thankful to him, for him. And I'm honored to bear his name. Um, yeah, so thanks, Dad. That was a really good, it's a really good talk about it. And I'll put link in the show notes after the show ends, to how you can see his description video, um, because it's going to be a great class. Essentially, it's going to be a combination of photography and how to utilize our awareness skills and our hunter-gatherer ancestors' hunting skills to become better photographers. Because if you think about it, our hunter-gatherer ancestors were incredibly aware animals, just like we are. We're all still animals. Um, if they didn't, if they weren't aware of everything going on around them, not only might they miss a chance at getting some food, but we always haven't been at the top of the food chain. And so by applying those same skills, the awareness, the stalking, the movement, the looking small, varying our vision, being in wide angle vision, that's how I find the subjects that I take photos of. One of the most hilarious things I ever saw is my former partner went on a camping trip at, I think it's Arches National Park, and there's this couple-day period of the year where the sun rises right, not, in the middle of this archway. And so they had to get up at 3 in the morning and hike an hour and a half, and it looked like a bunch of photographers standing in line to go on a ride at Disneyland. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, that there's so much other beautiful, small things, big things, medium-sized things around, the appeal of getting a photograph of something that a million other people have photographed, that doesn't do it for me. You know, I want to photograph the things that people miss, because when people see photographs of things that are all around them in the area where they live, and they truly see it through one of my photographs, uh, it causes this switch to flip in their head, and they start to think, if I missed, that spider or that plant or that flower, well, what else am I missing in my life? And it causes them to do a little inventory. And even if that person never buys a photo from me or attends a class through me, I know I've positively influenced them and started them on their journey to, our next evolution. And that is when we go from becoming Homo sapiens to Homo caretakians. I like that. Trademark that for me, will you, gang? All right. Anyway, um, yeah, so a couple other things I wanted to update you all on. My currently, still running GoFundMe campaign has been awesome. Some of you have been really generous, and I can't thank you enough. You know, the I made a series of bad choices. I made a series of hasty decisions, and it put me into a hole that I am not able to get out of without help from the community that I've been a part of my entire life. So for those of you who have donated, whether it's, monetarily or donated your time, like my buddy Jim right now, who is letting me know how the quality of the stream is doing. I'm not paying him for that. He's doing that because he's a caretaker and he wants to see me shine. And he knows that I have valuable things to say that the world needs to hear. Because in the long run, that's my goal, is to try and change the world. And uh, as my father before me, you know, I'm not going to try to do it on a mass level. I'm going to do it one person at a time, or two people at a time, and, just cause that ripple effect, right? Concentric rings. And then eventually, if you believe in some of the more mysterious laws of our universe, uh, there's something called critical mass. And when enough people start thinking about the same ideas, they begin to manifest. Uh, it's if you study the skills that I teach, the ancestral living skills I teach, you begin to notice that the same skill or one very much like it popped up on opposite sides of the human world right around the same time period. And it's not like Grug in their cave figured out the bow drill and emailed their buddy Grog, in the next cave neighborhood over, and it's like, check out this thing I built. No, I believe that we have the ability to tap into the collective consciousness of not only our species, but we can truly plug into what I call the nature net and be connected with all of this around me. This is how we get to the level where we can walk up to a plant and just instinctually know, is it edible? Is it medicinal? If it's medicinal, what are its medicinal qualities? It's the reason I can, if all this junk wasn't here laid out, I could sit here for a minute and close my eyes and go into a meditation and ask to be led to the perfect branch to make a bow drill kit out of. And then direction will pop into my head, and I'll get up and I'll start walking. And sure enough, before too long, bam, there's the perfect branch. I can get the whole bow drill kit out of one branch. Can do the same thing with water sources, or where the nearest elk herd. Um, we have these abilities. They've just been uh, made atrophied by living in our nice, comfy, cozy 72-degree bubble society that we all live in. And yeah, back to the campaign, as somebody who's always been a giver and, literally have given someone the shirt off their back before. Um, I find it funny that as I go through some of these crowdfunding things, and I mentioned this the other night, but here's people who are trying to raise $80,000 because they want to have some sort of small plastic gizmo that like turned I forget what it does, and they were looking for $100,000 and they raised $2 million. Then I found a video of a bunch of mega church pastors on their G6 Gulfstream jet saying, asking their parishioners to please donate $400 million so they could get a G8 jet because it had more space, because they couldn't be bothered with going to the airport like regular people because they'd have to spend too much time casting out demons and healing people, and they'd never make their flights. And sure enough, they got the money for the jet, $400 million. I'm, and here I am, a person who genuinely wants every being on this planet to be able to live its ideal life and have space to grow that is clean and not polluted. I want us to stop fighting amongst each other. You let's get over that. It's over. Be done with it. And then I want us to turn our brains towards figuring out ways to have things like phones and cameras and computers that are made in a way where maybe they last a little longer than 2 or 3 years. Um, it's doable, you know, but as long as profits are involved, there's the kicker. And I've said it a million times. That's when we really started to kind of go downhill as a species, is when uh, agriculture really took hold, and all of a sudden, there are property rights, and don't get me started on organized religion and all these things, and it's staggering to me how the Earth is 400 billion years old. Our species has been on the Earth for, I forget what the exact number is, 100,000 years, a couple 100,000 years. Uh, in the last, uh, I don't know, say 2,000 years, we have wrought an incredible amount of destruction on uh, our one and only home. If you've never heard Carl Sagan's speech, A Pale Blue Dot, I highly recommend it because it kind of puts things into perspective. So yeah, I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. Um, there. So one other thing I want to talk about, the throwing stick raffle. Yay! So I finally got both blanks cut out for the throwing stick raffle. So blank number one is just anytime I pick up a piece of raw material, I take the Michelangelo approach. You know, what the hell's that? Well, somebody asked Michelangelo once, how did you make the statue of David? You know, he said, I didn't make the statue of David. I saw the statue inside that block of marble, and my only job was to remove all of the excess material and expose the statue that was already inside it. And that's the approach I take with the skills I teach. Oftentimes, I'll sit for hours with a piece of material I'm going to make something out of and just look at it from all angles. And, for instance, this stick here, being that, th this part of the stick is, going to be where you ideally are going to want to hit something. I purposely cut this wood so there's a knot here. So it's much more dense. And then once I fire harden it, it'll be even more dense. So this is blank number one. You may win if you purchase the ticket. Number two, I call the pecker because it looks like a chicken. Um, yeah, one thing I've learned about hunting with a throwing weapon is even if you're the best thrower on earth, there may be a time where you throw a stick at an animal and you hit it and it doesn't die right away, right? That's why I'm all about getting as close as you can when hunting. So, you may break its legs, and as soon as that happens, that animal is suffering. And that suffering can be tasted in the meat, it can be felt in the air, and I don't want that. So in those instances, when it does happen, having a stick like this that's got a bit of a point to it, where when I swing this, there's a lot of concentrated pressure per square inch on that. And just one quick whack on the back of the head, and it will rapidly end that animal's life. It's kind of why I included it on both of these, because you never know. So yeah, so I will put a link to the raffle tickets. I've already started. I've done quite a bit more work on this one than this one. But yeah, now that the sun's back out, I'm gonna get back to working on these, and I'm hoping by my birthday, November, they should be ready to go. So on my website, I think there is a page for it. Um, it's called Throwing Stick Raffle. If not, it is in the school store section, which brings up the last thing I'm going to talk about tonight. So I have been playing quite the fashionista lately, and I have been taking photographs that I've taken, and I've been putting them on t-shirts. And one of the things I was trying to do is have like an extra little slideshow to show you a few of the designs, but I didn't have quite enough time. But if you go to the school store, you can see I've got all sorts of designs. Some of them are just an animal. Some of them may have a catchy saying. I've got my logo shirts, of course, and I'm going to keep expanding my clothing line. All the stuff I have my designs printed on are good, sustainable, ethical companies. These aren't sweatshop t-shirts. These are Bella and Canvas, American Apparel. I really wanted to do hemp shirts, but they would have been really expensive unless I bought like thousands of them at once. Um, So yeah, I'm gonna keep adding designs, so check back regularly on that. In closing, I just want to ask everyone to close your eyes for a second, take a deep breath, and just let it out. All that I am is now. All that I am is now. When I changed my philosophy from being a grumpy Gus that was pissed off about this or that happened last week or a month ago or 6 months ago, it did no good for me, you know. But living in the now, just worrying about today, obviously we do have to do a little bit of planning into the future, but try to have that spirit as much as possible, that just being in the now. And I promise you, you will have much better, awesomer, wonderful lives. So until next time, everybody, next Wednesday. Oh, so by the way, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you aren't already and hit that bell icon because there will be another video that will go live at 6 o'clock, and it is an unboxing video that I did. And I'm going to be really starting to crank out the video content as I finish up these two big photography projects that I'm working on for some other folks. I've got a ton of footage, and now I just got a lot of editing to do. So, yeah, if you hit that bell icon, and it'll let you know every time I put a new video up or I schedule another live. So, until next Wednesday, stay happy, stay healthy, love those around you, even if they don't deserve it. Uh, hug a tree, smell a stick, touch some moss. But remember, you can't do most of that stuff without getting your butt outside. I love you all deeply and have so much gratitude for all the guidance you have given me. Uh, thank you all. This is T3 signing off.